What's up, you guys? It's the Wrestling Old Head in the portal of pro wrestling, and I'm about to break down this year 2024 for professional wrestling like a shotgun. Let's talk about it. So I'm not going to really do a year-end review or awards necessarily. I am going to point out some things that I noticed in 2024. This was my first year of doing YouTube content for professional wrestling. So I got to look at professional wrestling through a different lens. Yes, I was focused on the wrestling action. I was watching the matches and everything, but I was also being very critical. I was paying attention more so to the details than I had ever done before, because when I talked about it, I wanted to make sure that I noticed the little nuances and the smaller details. Sometimes when I would put on professional wrestling, it was just on, and then I'd, go grab a beer, go have some snacks, go do whatever, and then I'd be doing other things. But lately I've been focused on watching the matches, watching how the angles play out, the backstage stuff, and I've noticed the attention to detail that even the WWE has done lately has been phenomenal. They really want you to pay attention to every single shot, and they don't want you to miss a thing. And I think that's important, and I think that draws in fans, because even if you're not really paying attention, when you go on the internet and you say, oh, that happened, I missed that, it makes you want to go back and watch it, or makes you want to go to their social media and check it out. They've also done a great job with doing the stuff that happens when the show goes off the air. That's also a great opportunity to grab fans and push them into your social media by making sure that they're aware that anything could happen in the WWE even when the cameras essentially stop rolling. Very good stuff there. For AEW, they had a little bit of a slip, a little bit of a dive. They had a slide a little bit, but they've been trying to stay on course and not really lose too much momentum. They had Adam Copeland get seriously injured. MJF was hurt for a while. Adam Cole was hurt for a while. Kenny Omega was hurt for a while. They seemingly lost Miro. Wardlow disappeared. Britt Baker was nowhere to be found. They lost and had a lot of people disappear and reappear. They're losing the Lucha Brothers. There's just been a lot of things that are shifting and a lot of things that are going on for AEW, and they're trying to stay course, and they're trying to do the best that they can with what they have. In 2025, they're essentially going to have their entire roster back in their prime and ready to go. I'm talking about Bobby Lashley, Adam Copeland, Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, Ricochet, Will Ospreay, Jay White, Hangman Adam Page, Swerve Strickland. The list goes on. They're going to have Jon Moxley. They're going to have all of those guys at their leisure right now going into 2025, so they have an opportunity to regain the momentum. Also, you never know what happens in the WWE. You never know what happens in AEW. There may be a huge trade by the WWE letting somebody go and them jumping ship and going to AEW. You never know what could happen in that regard. That's what's so exciting about professional wrestling, is that one day you wake up, you hit the news feed, you hit X, wherever you go, Reddit, whatever it is, and then all of a sudden, boom, has just been released. What? I can't wait to see them possibly show up in AEW. Now they get an opportunity. And the same with AEW. Oh, AEW just released so-and-so. Wow, can't wait for them to return or show up in the WWE and actually get an opportunity. So now for the year-end review of sorts, but it's not really a review. I just kind of want to point out a few things that happened throughout the year in professional wrestling that really really got me talking. And this is off the top of my head. I don't have any notes or anything like that too. So one thing I definitely want to talk about is Cody Rhodes finishing his story. What an ending. It was very similar, and if you know, you know. Most of you young guys probably don't know. If you're watching me, you probably want to get an old head's perspective. There is nothing more old head perspective than me drawing a parallel between Cody Rhodes winning his WWE Undisputed Championship at WrestleMania to you finishing the Super Nintendo Mario World game. It felt like, if I had the time, I would merge those two together. And maybe I'll throw a clip in here somewhere and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. But it really felt like that. You had everybody coming out on the stage, getting in the ring, hoisting him above their heads and crowning him, giving him a speech, giving him everything. It was tears. It was joy. I got emotional for it. It really was a great moment. He then had his star thrown into the universe forever. It was just so great. It was a storybook ending. From there, Cody Rhodes has been working kind of and I mean this with all due respect, you guys are going to be like, oh, he's shitting on Cody. he's been working the Hulk Hogan schedule. He's been wrestling work rate guys like AJ Styles, and I can't believe I'm saying this guy's a work rate guy, but Logan Paul. And he's been doing these matches where they've been great matches, especially the ones with AJ Styles. And then he's been, trying to thwart attacks from Solo Sikoa, essentially, right? And now he's in a situation with Kevin Owens where Kevin Owens is trying to really destroy Cody Rhodes because he feels hurt by him as a friend, and that Cody decided to align with Roman Reigns. And now you've got Roman Reigns basically being the center pawn piece, the center king, if you will, around all these other pieces that are kind of threaded in to this one storyline. You've got Roman Reigns in the center, but you've got Cody Rhodes, you've got Randy Orton, you've got Kevin Owens, you've got Seth Rollins, you've got Solo Sikoa, you've got The Rock, you've got Drew McIntyre, you've even got CM Punk now involved in this, you've got Bronson Reed, you've got 9 or 10 guys that are circling around and all kind of connected in some way to Roman Reigns. It's a very fascinating thing and an opportunity for them to play with so many different main events going into 2025. So one of the things that I liked, aside from Cody finishing his story, which I thought was a really great thing, and that was when I first started my YouTube channel, was when that was going on. I gotta say, the Bloodline storyline, and it has hit its lulls. It has, there were some stops there with Solo coming in. We thought he was going to be a little bit more dominant, but those that knew that the character that he had was not supposed to be dominant. I know when he came in as the bodyguard, people were like, oh, this guy's going to be legit badass. He started to dress like Samoa Joe a little bit. But the truth of the matter is, Solo saw an opening at the throne. He went and sat on the throne because Roman was gone. And he tried to take over without really earning that spot, without understanding what it's like to be a top guy in the WWE. So when he started to realize it, he was like, holy shit, like I need some guys to protect me. So he goes and gets sort of family, like quote unquote family, Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, who are not blood relatives, who are relatives of, or who are sons of Haku, who was considered an uncle by Rikishi, and they bring him in. They're like, these guys aren't even really blood, they're like pseudo bloodline, right? And then he goes and he gets Jacob Fatu, who I believe breakout star of 2024, Jacob Fatu. Who knew that many people loved Jacob Fatu? That many people bought into the badassness of Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu was basically Django Fatu for a long time, chained to the MLW contract. And I'm joking about that. I love MLW and Court Bowers, so please don't come at me, guys. But it's true. They had him under contract for a long time. Jacob, admittedly, has had a rough, checkered past in real life, which really made you believe he was a badass and a force to be reckoned with. So he was in MLW doing the Contra and running with that stable for a while, having some great matchups with Alex Hammerstone and really putting on some great matches out in MLW. No idea that when he came into WWE, he would be received as well as he's been received. And he has gotten over to the point where he's starting to usurp Solo Sikoa in that idea of authority. People buy into Jacob Fatu overwhelmingly more than they would buy in to his Solo Sikoa right now. And I think that is also by design, because if you go back and understand what I was saying about the throne, Solo did not know how hard it would be to get on the top of the WWE mountain. And he's realizing it's not as easy as he thought it was going to be. And even with his crew, it's not easy. And Roman is starting to come back into the fold, and he's basically the same Roman that he was before he left. And he's also realizing that maybe he's a little too cocky and maybe he needs to apologize. We're still waiting for Roman Reigns to apologize. Where's that quote from? You mean apologize? No, I would never say that. If you know, you know. But Roman as well. Roman is going to have a character shift, a massive character shift in 2025, where the fans love him for him staying who he is, but other wrestlers are going to start to leave him and not have his back the way that they had his back for that seemingly one night only OG Bloodline reunion at Survivor Series. He's going to have a come to Jesus moment, and I think that at that time he's going to realize that he needs to apologize. I think The Rock is going to play a part in that as well. one of the most puzzling things that happened in 2024, at least regards to the WWE, is The Rock. I mean, he made his comeback at WrestleMania. He had a great tag team matchup. He looked in great shape, didn't get hurt at all. Comes back the next night on Raw, whispers something to Cody Rhodes, gives him something and says, "Never break my heart again," leaves. We don't see him again. Comes back for Bad Blood in October. At the end of the show, gives the 3 with his fingers, does the slicing of the neck, disappears again, and now we've been trying a guessing game of when he's going to come back. No idea when that's going to happen, by the way. He's just kind of been a thought. And like, people don't know what's going to happen, so much so that the rumor going about WrestleMania is that it's probably going to be Roman Reigns and CM Punk and Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, or Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. Like, The Rock is starting to get out of the conversation, and maybe that's by design. But he has been one of the most puzzling superstars to figure out in the WWE, because we're not sure if he is going to come back or when he's going to come back. I mean, if you ask me, I think he is going to come back. But in 2024, he's just been a mystery, man. And the funniest thing is that he basically said, when I come back, I'm really going to give my all to the WWE. And he's been poofed and gone again. He's like Shazam or Kazam or whatever. He's the genie. He's in and out. So one of the matches of the year for me in 2024, I must say, and not in so much of an order, but Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, a perfect finale. It was overbooked to hell, but that pop that The Undertaker got in that stadium, oh my God, if they had a roof, it would have blown off. It was a huge moment. And as I've stated before, with Cody Rhodes, that was just an amazing moment. I would also say CM Punk and Drew McIntyre was probably one of the best opening matches that I've seen in WWE and in professional wrestling in a long time. Wow, that match should have been the main event. And it actually took so much out of the crowd that it took a while to get them back, man. That was a main event. They should have saved that for the main event. It was an awesome match. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, honestly, my feud of the year. And I understand that there are going to be some people that think that Swerve and Hangman Adam Page should have been the match of the year. And I don't disagree with them. If they're going to say that, I understand why they would do that. But for me, I would say CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, they captivated me for an entire year, and they didn't have to even step foot in the ring in order to do it. Their first match wasn't until SummerSlam, which I saw live in Cleveland, Ohio. And I must say, that was a huge moment. And to see that their first match in the ring was, that I was there for that, I mean, man, it made 2024 that much better for me. Cherry on the top right there. So my feud of the year, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, and one of my matches of the year was their Hell in a Cell match. And then the third match I would say would be Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson. I think when you look at a match, and at least for me, I mean, the beauty of professional wrestling is that there are so many different lenses, so many different perspectives. Everybody has their own favorite, their own thing that they watch for that they like. I mean, if you, no one is more polarizing than Dave Meltzer, okay, about that. But for me, the crowd plays a big part in it. And especially the wrestlers when they're feeding off of the crowd. And it's not about giving them everything that they want. It's about building to give them what they want. I think that Bryan Danielson in the ring understands that more so than Will Ospreay. And Bryan Danielson got that type of match out of Will Ospreay. And for that, it was one of my favorite matches in 2024. Because the crowd ate it up. And they hit at such a full throttle. It's like, Bryan, are you really leaving, man? Bryan Danielson looked like he had 20 more matches in him during that match. He kept up with the pace of a Will Ospreay, and that's amazing for somebody like Bryan Danielson. So super kudos to him for that. There was a lot of changing of companies in 2024. You saw the Hurt Syndicate show up in AEW. You saw Jordan Grace show up at the Royal Rumble for the WWE, and then later again for NXT. You also saw Joe Hendry show up in NXT. I would say most improved of 2024 would probably be Joe Hendry, because he went from not so much in the public spotlight to one of the most talked about things on the internet. Joe Hendry blew up out of nowhere, and he's been wrestling for a long time. So that trajectory jump means he improved just by giving an opportunity to be in the spotlight and hitting it out of the park, okay? So I got to give Joe Hendry his credit on that. He turned himself into a meme. He turned his gimmick into a song. I mean, he was the talk of WWE, and he wasn't even a part of the WWE, and it was so much so that the WWE had to bring him in and put him in NXT. So I got to give him all the credit in the world. Another thing that I love to see as far as like people coming in from other companies was the Motor City Machine Guns finally getting their flowers. I've been a big Alex Shelley fan ever since the background productions, the paparazzi productions that he did in TNA with Kevin Nash, which I was a big fan of. I loved that, and I love the way Alex Shelley played off of Kevin Nash. So I've been a big fan of Alex Shelley since around that time. And I know that he was in Ring of Honor and he did some things with Prince Nana and everything, but he really started to come into his own, in my opinion, when he was with Kevin Nash. And I really started to see him hit his peak, and I was ashamed. It was a shame that TNA didn't capitalize on that. And Chris Sabin as well. Chris Sabin did have his run as the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, but I never really feel like he got his flowers or got his chance in the spotlight. And seeing them show up in the WWE, not go to NXT, jump right into SmackDown, and whether or not it's because the WWE thought that they were going to get the Lucha Brothers and did not get the Lucha Brothers at the time that they thought they were, so then they switched gears and gave it to Motor City Machine Guns. Whether that is true, because I heard that was a rumor, or not, I'm still super glad that we got to see the Motor City Machine Guns on a big spotlight like SmackDown win the tag team championships and get their name in the lights. It took a while for the crowd to get around that. I understand that, but it was a huge moment, and I appreciate Paul Levesque for recognizing that and giving those guys their shot at the spotlight. And so I thank Paul Levesque for that, and I think it was super cool of the WWE to recognize that. Now it's about building tag team wrestling characters and storylines to get us more invested in it. Just special consideration, I got to give Karrion Kross his props. If nobody else will, then it's going to be me. And I will start doing videos giving this man his shine because he deserves it. Karrion Kross puts on some of the better promos that I've seen in professional wrestling. And almost no one really sees it unless they follow him on X or on YouTube. The guy has put together some of the best promos. The way that he speaks, the way that he captivates the audience. No jump cuts, no loud noises. He tells stories. I haven't seen somebody like that tell a story since like Jake Roberts did in the 90s. He's captivating, man. He's special. And it's just going to take the right program. It's just going to take the right storyline for everybody to start to see it and for him to break the internet. I think if Karrion Kross starts to get into a program, like when he was going to get into that program with Roman Reigns, I thought it would have been huge for him, but things changed and they shifted, and I think it was like the balance of power was shifting. Vince was leaving, Paul Levesque was coming in. I think there was a lot going on there, and Paul Levesque was trying to like organize things and set things up the right way, and so we didn't get Karrion Kross and Roman Reigns that we thought we were going to get, because if you remember, Scarlett was coming out and putting the hourglass. So instead of that, we shifted, and now Karrion Kross kind of took a back seat, but he's been building up this character. And if you've watched Shinsuke Nakamura change over time after interaction with Kross, Bobby Lashley changed since coming into interaction with Karrion Kross, Rey Mysterio's change of character since coming in with Karrion Kross, Rey Mysterio, I think it was Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, The Miz. All of these things are being shifted. Drew McIntyre was a big one because he had just gone, and now Drew McIntyre is more over than he's ever been before. And it's because of the character interaction with Karrion Kross, or at least Karrion Kross can say that. And I think that's what's so special about his character. So when Karrion Kross gets in the ring with Cody Rhodes or CM Punk, I'm telling you, it's going to be a superstar-making experience. He is going to get the fans to see how legitimate he really is. And so he's just one big program away from having that moment. I like the stuff that he's doing on X and on YouTube, and it's got to translate to television. I am sure Paul Levesque, Bruce Pritchard, I'm sure those guys are watching this stuff. It is special stuff, and I'd really like to see it get more of a spotlight on television. So for 2024, I'd say one of the most underrated guys in wrestling is probably Karrion Kross, in my opinion, and I believe he will be the breakout star of 2025 if more people start to see what I have seen and what many have seen on X and on YouTube. And I will continue to spread the word and pass on all of his promos to as many people as I can until we all see that for professional wrestling, time is up, because Karrion Kross is tick-tocking to the top. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this really wasn't like a year-end review or awards or kind of like a retrospective like how I would have liked to do it. This is kind of off the cuff, off the top of my head. I just kind of wanted to kind of go over everything that I saw in 2024. It was a very special year for me. I got to go to one of my first pay-per-views for professional wrestling, and I saw some great action at WWE SummerSlam. In 2025, I hope to go to an AEW event. I hope to see more local independent wrestling and just get more involved in the professional wrestling live experience. I would like to continue with this channel, potentially doing interviews. Who knows what's going to happen? It's been an exciting year for me. This is something that I've loved since I was 3 years old, and now I get to express my opinions, perspective. You get to see professional wrestling through my lenses, and I couldn't do it without any of you. You guys have all made it special. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for pushing with a thumbs up to get me out to the algorithm and beyond. And I really can't thank you guys enough. Even if you're watching this in the future and you're stumbling upon this for the first time, it still means a lot to me. So thank you guys again for everything that you've done. I really appreciate it. I hope you had as good of a year as I've had. Have a happy end of 2024. And for 2025, as I've always said and beyond, stay tuned for more.